Hello students, we'll use this class for understanding in greater detail the two concepts research and research design and sampling. These two concepts, as I have already told you in the class on steps involved in communication research, these are very important steps. But I'll use this class to tell you things in a greater detail because these issues are very important. You see, research design is a plan, as I said earlier. It is a kind of a road map. You, before going to the fields, you take every decision on each and every dimensions of research. What kind of area you have to select, what kind of samples you need to have before you go to the field. Who are the people you are going to contact? What kind of a technique, whether you are going to use questionnaire or schedule or interview or observation or any other, or a combination of these techniques, such type of things, or anything. Even if you are within the field, you might come across certain issues that you need to sort it out on the spot. So these are the issues generally decided before you start going for the field for gathering data, and these are the issues that is covered within the premise of research design. So this is one issue. The second is sampling. Sampling is nothing but a methodology to select samples. So samples and sampling, these two things are very important. Sampling is important in communication research because it's sometimes very difficult to speak to each and every person of the universe. Suppose there is a general election, you cannot speak to each and every voter. So for that you need to select certain samples, and this is the procedure to select samples is called sampling, and sampling makes things easier. Therefore, these two techniques, research design and sampling, are important because not only it makes things easier, but it saves our times, it saves our money, it saves our energy, but at the same time it helps us in maintaining the objectivity in communication research. Therefore, when we move further, you'll see that how these things are said time and again, but it is sometimes very difficult. You cannot avoid repetition. We'll now move on to the next section. In the outline, we see there is research design, and again it is mentioned what is the meaning of research design, what is its importance, and what are the types. Similarly, sampling, its conceptual understanding, purpose and importance, and types of sampling, and then it is followed by conclusion. Now, giving some specific attention to research design, there are two sections out here. The one deals with understanding of concept, what is it, and the other is about its importance. It's very simple. I think we should not provide much time to this, because it has been said earlier also that research design is a kind of a pre-plan. It is a roadmap, and everything related to research before going to the field, we take a decision about its area, its sample size, its time frame, methodology, technique, and each and every kind of information that we would be looking for in the field. This is what research design is. It is a pre-plan, and the students should keep this in mind, that whenever somebody asks what is research design, he should or she should say that it is basically a plan. For example, if you need to have a house and you employ an engineer, ask him to provide a map of the house. The engineer or the planner he will do his best to use the limited resources and space, and within that limited resources, how to give a best house frame to you. So this is what a plan is. Similarly, what is the importance of research design? Its importance lies in the fact that by developing a research design, by deciding everything about what we required in the field, what kind of data, who are the people we are going to speak, or what sort of technique we need to have for generating data, we take a decision related to each and every aspect before we go to the field. Therefore, this is a strategic decision, and this strategy helps us in saving time, saving money, and protects us from deviation. Similarly, it provides us guidelines and ensure objectivity and reliability, which is the ultimate aim of the scientific investigation. Therefore, I think it's enough about research design. We'll give more emphasis on what are the types. See, this is a kind of a issue which sometimes create confusion, because there are several books on research, communication research and social research in sociology and several other subjects, and everywhere you will find different interpretations. But my feeling of the whole issue is that, you see, design depends on the kind of approach you adopt, whether the purpose of research is exploratory or explanatory or descriptive. Similarly, whether the purpose of research is it is a historical research or a comparative research or evolutionary research. So this depends on the nature of this investigation. So if you are going for a quantitative research, you need to have a quantitative research design. Or if you have a qualitative kind of investigation, you need to have a qualitative research design. And accordingly, you look for technique of data collection. If you are going for a quantitative research investigation, you need to have questionnaire. But if you are going for a qualitative research investigation, you will have to depend on interview and observation. You see, this is the difference, and this is how you develop your design. So therefore, my feeling is that in short or in nutshell, the types of research design depend on types of research we are going to conduct. Therefore, exploratory, if you are going to explore something, your research design will be different from the kind of research design meant for explanatory research or descriptive research. So therefore, I think it's clear now to you, and you must keep this in mind, that you need to keep your mind two things only, that research design depends on the nature of research under study, number one. And therefore, the second point is that if the purpose of research is quantitative investigation, you need to have those type of research design. I think this is sufficient. Let us move to the next section, and that is about sampling. And before going into the details, I must tell you that sampling is a very important apparatus of research investigation in communication research, because sampling is a technique that ensure smoothness of the whole exercise. Sampling is nothing but the method or technique of selecting samples. Samples is what? Sample is the smallest unit of the larger whole. It is the smallest but the representative unit. The two features of samples are what? Number one, it is the smallest unit, and second, it is the representative. Despite the fact that this is the smallest unit of the larger whole or the universe, it is representative also, because it is representative in the sense that all the features of the universe, all the features of the larger whole are also present in the smallest unit. Therefore, it is called samples. And samples you must have come across. You see, this agents medical representative meeting the doctors with their samples of medicines, and they request the doctors, please recommend these medicine to the patients because these medicines are very good. So these samples, doctor first of all check it and then give it to advise these medicine to the doctors. If it is good, then it is the doctors prescribes to other patients also. So this is one example. The other example is how whenever there is a requirement of a blood test, just one fraction of drop of blood is sufficient to test the entire blood. So these are the examples of samples. So sampling is basically a method of selection of samples. And why sampling is done? Why there are need of samples? This is precisely because of the fact that once you go for studying a very huge universe, a country like India, suppose there is a general election and you are working with a television channel or some market agencies which are doing psephology. These agencies or television channels or newspapers are interesting in going for a pre-poll assessment of different political parties, which parties ultimately is going to form the government after the election. If this is the purpose of the analysis, you are required to have assessment of the opinion of the people of the country as a whole. And since it's a huge country, it's a very big country, there are several states, 29 states altogether, and different kind of population like urban, rural, male, female. Then again, population or the voters are differentiated in terms of caste and creed, and every section has or have its own opinion about the political party. They have their own preferences. If you need to have a scientific assessment of what these people are going to do in this election, what the majority of the people are whom they are going to vote, which party is going to emerge as the party which likely to form the government after the election, you need to have a proper understanding of the whole everything. And therefore, precisely in order to make your plan successful, you go for a sampling in the sense that instead of going for speaking to each and every voter of this country, instead of visiting each and every village and mohalla, you select some samples, a sample bank. You collect samples that is representative and smaller in size. And for this is not a simple exercise. It's very complex exercise, and lots of people are involved in this kind of thing. You need to have, first of all, the proper map and understanding of the whole country. You divide the country into different regions, and from different regions, again, each and every region is subdivided into different blocks, and again from each and every block have different villages. Again, these villages or blocks and regions or state, you need to have representative of different categories. Like you need to have sampling from rural area and urban area. You need to have representative from male and female, young generation, especially after the age has been reduced from 21 years to 18 years. Voting age. This is a very complex exercise, and therefore, after doing this exercise, you have a smaller samples. Suppose the total population of this country is about 125 crores, and similarly the number of voters is also very huge. You cannot speak to each and every voter. You cannot have their point of view. Therefore, you select some samples and then you speak to them. So that becomes easier. That is the purpose of sampling and selection of samples. So what does sampling or sample do? it saves our times, it saves our resources, and instead of the large population is no more our problem. Similarly, the huge geographical area is also not a problem before us. So, in short, or in other words, it makes it easy and smooth going, but at the same time, it ensures that the objectivity and the purpose of the scientific investigation remains intact. So this is what sampling is. The next important dimensions of sampling is the types. There are different types of sampling, and the types is because of the fact that a huge population have demands like this. So broadly speaking, there are two types. The first is probability sampling. The second is non-probability sampling. Probability sampling is based on the principle of equal probability of selection to each unit. Probability sampling is the method which is used in a situation where the unit is simple. There is no differences, no difference from within when each and every unit of the sample is equal. And the best example of probability sampling is an example from the household activities. You must have seen your mom, your elder sister, to how do they go for assessing whether the rice has been properly cooked or not. So for assessing this, she picks out only one rice, and if it is it is found that the one rice is properly cooked, it is understood that the entire thing, the rice in the pot is properly cooked. So this is the best example of probability sampling, where each and every unit of the larger whole within the cooker, each and every rice has equal chance of selection. You don't stop any other. So it depends on chance, whatever unit is selected. Similarly, there is the types of probability sampling. There are two types: simple random sampling and a stratified random sampling. I have already talked of simple random sampling because this picking a rice, the example of picking a rice is the example of simple random sampling. And the other type is stratified random sampling. Stratified random sampling is done where the universe or the larger whole is not identical. There are certain diversions. There is, for example, in a country like India, each and every state is not identical. You see, UP is different from Bihar. UP is a huge state. Similarly, Haryana is a smaller state. The people of people in different parts of the country are, differentiated in terms of caste and religion. Therefore, in order to have an objective analysis, what we do, we go for a double process of doing sampling. First of all, we stratified our universe in different equally identical units which are identical and similar to each other, and then in the second stage we select samples from them. Therefore, this is called stratified random sampling. So there are two types of probability sampling. These are simple random sampling, and the best example is picking a rice or the system of this lottery system is also based on this simple random sampling. And the second is a stratified random sampling, and this you can see during exit poll conducted during general election. So these are the two types of probability sampling. Now coming over to non-probability sampling. Non-probability sampling is the kind of sampling where there is a human intervention, because that is the only alternative left before us. In certain circumstances, you cannot rely on probability sampling, whether it is simple random sampling or stratified random sampling. You will have to have human intervention. And human intervention, the purpose of human intervention is not to, nullify the objective of scientific investigation. Basically, the objective is to purpose of the human intervention is also to attain objective analysis, but it is our compulsion. For example, if we want to do study of the beggars in Delhi, how to do this? The best example of human intervention is this: that if you are interested in doing a study of the beggars in Delhi, you will be forced to go to only those spots where beggars in large numbers are present. So you will like to go to the temples, you will like to go to the mosque where people go and where beggars understand that on places like this, they will give them some money or something other things, because there is a pressure, with the people in front of God. So that is the purpose. And for this, you need to go, you will not go to the market, because in market also there are beggars, but in front of the temples or in front of the mosque, there are beggars present in large numbers. You go to this temple near Pragati Maidan, Bhairav Mandir, you will find lots of beggars. So that is the purpose. Here there is a human intervention. You don't depend on probability. You don't give chance to all the beggars, because if you go for giving chance to each and every beggars in Delhi, the whole exercise will go in vain. So this is not the purpose. Purpose is ultimately to complete our research and have objective analysis. So this is one example, the study of beggars in Delhi. And the second is, you must have seen, when a TV anchor, TV anchor like Barkha Dutt or somebody else is interviewing the people on the street, in the market, on some vital issues, like right now the country is facing problem with China. So these television anchors are interested in knowing the public opinion. What is the feeling of the people in the country? Therefore, the TV anchor does not know who are the people standing in the crowd, but this is her or his decision. She can ask or he can ask anybody, yes, what is your opinion about this? So this is a human intervention, but ultimate aim is to get the opinion of the people. So this is what non-probability sampling is. So there are probability sampling, and then again there is a non-probability sampling, and probability sampling there is the two types, and non-probability sampling there is one type. Now so far as probability sampling is concerned, there could be other types as well, but I have mentioned only simple random sampling and stratified random sampling, because these are the two methods which are very common in use, and the students should focus on these two only, because there are n number of types in this category, and I think that is not very important. So please remember these 2 points, and now move on to the next section. That is the last section, and that believes what is the conclusion? What could be the concluding remarks on this? See, what we find that the two, like research design and sampling, have different functioning. Research design is basically about pre-plan, about the roadmap of the whole research activities, and sampling is related to selection of smaller unit and in lesser numbers. So these are the two things. Its functioning are different, but ultimate aim is the same. These two apparatuses are meant for ensuring that the purpose of scientific investigation must be attained. So that is their functioning are different. They have different ways, but the ultimate objective is the same. This is research design is about planning. sampling is meant for execution. You see, before going to the field, we go for research diet. But once you go to the field, your sampling is at work. And they together ensure a smooth functioning, of smooth operation of everything by ensuring saving of time, energy, and money, but does not encourage dilution of the objectivity. It ensures that objectivity of scientific investigation remains intact. That's all. Thank you so much.